The Satin Rabbit actually has an origin story that is quite unique. It is a breed that can trace its roots to Havana. At first, a certain breeder from Indiana named Walter Huey was trying to find different ways to improve the Havana rabbits he already had with him. What happened was that he was able to breed a different kind of Havana rabbit in a certain litter. The rabbit had a unique appearance, which prompted Huey to send some of those rabbits for testing at Harvard University. Geneticists at Harvard found out that the rabbit that Walter Huey had was a result of a genetic mutation. It appeared that a recessive gene in the Havana rabbit was the cause of the entirely different shine and texture of this rabbit's coat. In that sense, they still regarded this rabbit as a simple mutation of the Havana rabbit breed. But when Huey introduced the unique specimen to the rabbit world in comparison to the Havana, experts and other breeders were unable to accept that it was just an ordinary Havana with a mutation. As such, the National Havana Club recognized the rabbit as a variety of Havana called Satin Havana. It then received a sponsorship from the American Association of Havana Breeders for breeders to produce new colors of this unique and new rabbit breed. As time passed by, the American Association of Havana Breeders began to recognize the Satin Havana as an entirely new breed of its own due to the unique texture and sheen of its coat as compared to the usual Havana rabbit. In 1956, it was then recognized by the American Rabbit Breeders Association as its own breed called the Satin Rabbit instead of as the Satin Havana. Physical description. The Satin Rabbit is a medium to large-sized breed that can be quite heavy even though it carries a compact and commercial body type. This breed can weigh somewhere between 8.5 to 11 pounds as a rabbit in its full size. However, these rabbits have a European variety that is smaller and is somewhere close to 8 pounds at maximum size due to different breeding techniques and environmental considerations involved in breeding that variety of satin rabbits. As mentioned, the Satin Rabbit carries a commercial type body that is compact and quite rounded in the places where it is expected to be round. It looks fat and plump because of how round yet smooth its hindquarters are. The back of this rabbit curves quite well and is round and high enough that it can exceed the height of its erected ears when it is sitting flat on the ground. While the Satin Rabbit may be known for being round, it is slightly narrower near its shoulders to give it a shape that is quite reminiscent of a mandolin. The Satin Rabbit has a head shaped like a wedge but still broad. The ears tend to be erect and are actually considered long and may be as long or even longer than the length of the Satin Rabbit's head. Meanwhile, regardless of the color of the rabbit, it usually has eyes that are reddish-brown in terms of color. Its coat is where the Satin Rabbit sets itself apart from all of the other breeds of rabbits. It may have a similar overall appearance and body structure to the Havana, where it was originally bred from, but it has since grown and developed into its own unique breed and has a coat that is very different from that of the usual Havana. The one thing that makes it more unique than most other domesticated rabbits is that its coat has a satin sheen that gives it its name. When you try to stroke its coat, you will notice how smoothly your hand will glide through it like satin silk sheets. It also has that shiny kind of appearance. The reason why the Satin Rabbit has a coat like this is that the recessive genes of the Havana make its individual hair follicles smaller in diameter compared to most other rabbits. The hairs also have air pockets that catch light that shines on the rabbit to give the Satin Rabbit its unique sheen. But, even though the Satin Rabbit looks like it needs a lot of grooming because of its unique looking shiny hair, it actually does not need a lot of maintenance. Other than the usual grooming requirements of any normally domesticated rabbit breeds, the Satin Rabbit does not require you to go all out in terms of how you maintain the sheen and texture of its coat. The Satin Rabbit used to only have one color. But ever since its breeding was promoted and even sponsored by concerned associations wanting to propagate this breed's numbers, there are now a lot of different colors for this rabbit. The ARBA officially recognizes black, a combination of white and other colors, chinchilla, chocolate, blue, otter, red, and Siamese, among others as colors for the Satin Rabbit. Personality. Satin rabbits have a personality that is almost the same as the Havana or any other domesticated rabbit breed. In that sense, you can expect it to have a demeanor that is overall friendly and very calm, and easygoing. It will not be a problem for any owner to have this kind of rabbit because it is sociable yet not too hyperactive. In comparison to the shy rabbit types that are not used to a domesticated kind of life, the Satin Rabbit has a personality and a demeanor that is well suited for a life of domestication, as it does not mind living under the care of its owner and is not too shy when you try to socialize with it. Because of its sociable personality, it is important that you spend some time socializing with it. That means that it should not be a pet that you should keep in its enclosure or cage for long periods of time, as this rabbit breed requires that you try to spend some time with it outside of its cage. Petting it after taking it out of its enclosure is a good way to socialize with this breed. You can also introduce it to your kids and other domesticated animals that are safe for your satin rabbit to socialize with. The satin rabbit also comes with a really great docile personality that pet owners love from their pets. They are not fussy when you try to handle and pet them and are usually very submissive in the best of ways when you socialize with it. As such, this is a great first-time pet for a lot of different owners who are yet to learn how to handle and socialize with pets that are a bit tougher to handle than the common. Friendly and generally good-natured, the satin rabbit can be sweet and very happy to be with because of its kind personality. You will not have any trouble befriending a satin rabbit even if you are just a mere guest visiting your friend's house and interacting with the rabbit for the first time. As long as you approach it well enough for it to feel like you are not a threat, you can expect that his rabbit will not be too shy to be around you. Lifespan. The satin rabbit is not the most resilient breed as it does not always get to live as long as some other breeds do. Nevertheless, it can be expected for this rabbit to have a lifespan that is similar to a lot of other domesticated breeds in the sense that it can get to live for at least 5 years when given the minimum care required for it to thrive well. However, most of these rabbits can actually live a minimum of about 7 years with reasonable care. At the maximum and when they are treated in the best way possible under the best kind of conditions for this rabbit breed, the satin rabbit can possibly live for about 9 years but may not live for a decade or more, unlike some other rabbit breeds that do. You may be lucky enough, or you might be the best kind of owner if your satin rabbit can get to live for more than the usual 7 to 9 year lifespan. In terms of its overall health, the satin rabbit really is not one you could say that is susceptible to a lot of different illnesses and conditions that can possibly affect its lifespan. It will not have a lot of health problems, but that does not mean that you should just leave it be. Preventive measures that make it much more resilient against illnesses and parasites should be taken to make sure that you do not have to spend a lot of money for treatments later. Reproduction. The satin rabbit generally follows the same reproductive behavior as any domesticated breed of rabbit. It will most likely be ready for breeding at sexual maturity, which is somewhere between 4 to 6 months old. These rabbits have the capacity to give birth multiple times in a single year because of how short their gestation period tends to be. Of course, like most other mammals, they can give birth to a litter size that has about 2 to 6 rabbits. Satin rabbits are generally friendly types of rabbits that can interact and socialize well with children and adults alike, regardless of their age and experience level with pets. Satin rabbits are easy to interact with and are very receptive to getting handled by different types of pet owners so long as they approach it in a friendly manner. A socialized satin rabbit is quite easy to interact with. You can just take it out of its cage, allow it to stretch its legs outside of the enclosure, and handle and cuddle it in a safe and calm manner so as to make sure it feels secured being around you. If you enjoyed this video, kindly press the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, so that you don't miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching.